is up, Breaking Waves viewer? This week's Land Edition episode is brought to you by technical difficulties with our hard drive. But don't worry, we have so much more boat life in Mexico footage to get through right after this episode. So next week, we'll see you back on the water. And in the meantime, I hope you like the Land Edition. Welcome back to Breaking Waves, Land Edition. Our goal is to combine surfing and sailing. So 4 years ago, we bought our 41-foot sailboat and taught ourselves to sail in some of the trickiest waters in Canada. We put a lot of work into restoring her to her former circumnavigating self. And 7 months ago, our first offshore passage, we head offshore and are finally living our dream. This week's episode is going to be a little bit different as we answer some of our most asked questions. Where does Bun stay when he flies home for work? And what are we going to do for hurricane season? To answer these questions, we are going to go back in time to before we even sailed south from Canada. It is late July 2022 in this episode, so make yourselves comfortable because this is Breaking Waves Land Edition. Why, hello friends. Welcome to our truck. You may notice that we're not on the water. It is incredibly hot out, and I would wish that I was on the water, on the boat, except for we are instead picking up our camper. Woo! It's actually sweet. Ben is going to have to be flying back to go to work sometimes, and we're going to be leaving Kiana down south with me. I don't know how I scored that deal. We got a camper, and it's a Scout, and it looks sweet. So we are here to pick it up. Oh my God, I'm so excited. And you know, take it for a spin. We're gonna probably head down to Olympic National Park during this heat wave and test it out. Our new camper is a Scout Olympic lightweight camper that we put on the back of our new to us Ford F-350. This would serve as Ben's home when he had to fly back to Canada for work. Financially, this just made more sense to us than renting an apartment that would only be used about 1 week every 2 months. Our new camper weighs 1,081 pounds. It has a 2,000-watt AC converter that's powered by a 175-watt Renogy flexible solar panel. We have a 75-liter domestic fridge and freezer cooler and a 2-burner cooktop. There's 4.9 gallons of water storage in this camper, and we opted in for the rooftop tent for those nights that the stars are unbeatable. Oh, whoops. Look what we did.
Ready to rock and roll? Looks good, doesn't it?
I'm so stoked.
Then we're going to do a couple days in the mountains and we're going to go surfing in the push.
Because we're hunting down breaking waves.
Oh, so sweepy. I just so sweepy. I'm so sweepy.
Are you happy?
I'm happy!
Does it feel different driving the truck? Does it feel different driving the truck with the Scout on?
Hardly even notice it. Maybe a little bit from 0 to 30. But you can, if you want to punch it, you can punch it and the truck will pick up. But at high speed, I don't really notice it.
Sweet.
This is a 1-ton.
Also known as the Wonton.
Ford F-350. And the camper only weighs, I can't remember, I think it's 1,700 wet.
Oh yeah?
So that's like maybe less than half, or might even be like a third of the payload of this truck.
Sweet.
So,
We should buy a boat then. Kidding.
yeah, we'll go. All right, after a very long, very hot drive, it was like 37 degrees for a lot of it, and we have no AC right now in the truck. Traffic jams through Seattle, traffic jams in Tacoma. We are here. It's like 9 p.m. sunset, and we're gonna get ready for our first night in the camper. So that's pretty exciting. We found a nice little campsite, a campground on the river called the River Bend, in between Tacoma and Olympia. and we got some neighbors there, so we won't be too loud or anything, but we're gonna have a quick little fire to celebrate our first night in the new setup. Good morning. So we're up. We slept in a bit actually. It was a great first sleep in the camper. Slept like babies. We're used to sleeping on a boat in a V-berth, which isn't all that comfortable sometimes. And this twin or queen bed or whatever size it is, it feels luxurious. So nice to have a good sleep. I went for a run. Allie's doing some yoga. We're gonna get cleaned up and hit the road because we don't have any provisions yet. We don't have any coffee, we don't have any food, we just have water. And then we're gonna drive into Olympic State Park. There is food under there, I swear. But we're on vacation, so we're gonna act like it.
Number.
We still love boat life, and we're not done with boat life. We got tons of boat life to go. Can't wait to get back to the boat. But keep finding ourselves saying that, man, this is so much easier than boat life. Like,
one that's pro sailing is when you're sailing, you can like set the autopilot and go do other things. You can cook dinner, you can play the guitar, you can, I don't know, sharpen your knives if you feel like it.
I mean, if the weather's good anyway.
Yeah, but when you're driving, you just kind of, when you're driving, you both just have to like sit there, and one person has to drive, the other person just sits there and watches, I guess. Okay, the second reason that we got this camper is for the bigger picture. Let's shoot back to real time for a quick second. Our beloved 41-foot blue water sailboat and our #1 home is in Banderas Bay, Mexico, after sailing all the way down from Canada. By the way, if you haven't seen those episodes, you are gonna want to queue them up for later.
Wow, what an amazing moment. This is one of those things.
It was quite the adventure. Anyways, after 4 years on the boat, 1 offshore passage, and 6 months of Mexican heat, our golden retriever and boat dog, Bruce, looked me dead in the eye and was like,
Mom, I don't want to do any more offshore passages. And get me out of this heat.
fair enough. But as the love of my life, sorry, Ben, it was disappointing for sure, but understandable. And it presented a bit of a challenge, as our future plans have us
The South
Pacific! We're gonna cross the Pacific Ocean next year.
French Polynesia,
Tahiti, surfing, crossing the Pacific Ocean. So that's where the camper comes in. So we took advantage of hurricane season, which is June to October, and we head back to Canada. And we're gonna drive our little freeloader across the country to our parents' house, and we're gonna drop him on their doorstep. Bruce lovers, don't panic. We will be reunited as soon as we are back from the South Pacific. And for this piece of the puzzle, the camper was an absolute no-brainer. There's 2. I like your horns. You got some epic looking horns.
Bruce, what do you think you're doing here?
Are you purring like a cat?
Grace, nobody's afraid of you, man.
Not scared.
Nobody's afraid of you.
I want the Sony from the back.
First things. Hopefully we can surf. It's looking pretty small.
I'll surf just for the novelty.
Yeah. I think the south end there looks a little better. So we still don't quite have everything dialed in here where we want everything to be. We've just got like stuff all over the place.
We're still figuring it out. After I took a brief ride in the camper while it was moving, I realized that you don't want to put anything heavy in here because they hit the wall. So I took out all of our dishes and I think it'll be closed.
But yeah, looks like a nice day just to hunker down here on the coast and watch the waves, and hopefully it comes together. Hopefully the wind backs off a bit and the south swell arrives and there's a wave right out in front of us here.
I don't even care, to be honest. I'll go surfing in anything just for the novelty of it today. It's really beautiful out. There's these like rock sculptures.
Got some solar pumping in. This rig will definitely be a little left there. This rig will definitely be a surf adventure rig in the future. We're definitely gonna go wave hunting in this thing. It was fun to get out, fun to get wet. We got a couple waves. It's onshore, so they weren't really staying open, but whatever. It's cool to visit La Push again. All right, y'all, we're gonna pack up and hit the road.
On to the next. Well, it was a good surf. Good little session there. There's a lot of closeouts for me. Anyway,
Good.
Well, it was fun to get in the water, but there was a lot of closeouts. I rode quite a bit of whitewash, which I'm not mad about. But that's okay, because the sun is out. We are heading inland to go get some more heat, get away from some fog. But so it goes. After getting our ocean fix, we decided to head into the mountains to do something that we didn't always get the opportunity to do. Hike into one of the most photographed hikes I've ever seen. Hurricane Ridge.
What are your thoughts so far?
It's pretty sweet. It's like a moderate hike, paved. I'm excited to be at the top because these views, though, are...
We're going to the top of this ridge.
Even that hard of a hike, to be honest.
No.
This is cool. I wonder if they ever melt, because even in this drawing they're covered in snow.
No, I don't they ever.
I mean, I guess it's August.
Yeah.
And they're not melting now.
I got tons
Look
of
how
snow.
fluffy that snow looks. Think of the snow angel. You'd fall like 3 meters deep. I kind of feel like going down is actually less enjoyable than going up in a hike.
Yeah,
It's like hard on the knees.
And I was saying, but it gets easier on cardio. Going up to obviously harder on cardio.
Yeah.
And then we just circle back to saying hiking sucks. I got him. So earlier today we bought an extension for the cigarette 12-volt lighter that should let you charge the Yeti, the battery power thing, while driving. But it didn't work for whatever reason. A bit of power would show up. We had the solar unplugged and a bit of power would show up on the Goal Zero Yeti, and then it would just go away. And then we tried driving for a while to see if it needed higher RPMs or something, and no charging. So it looks like everything's plugged in properly. The lights come on and all that on the charging cords. So, and we know we're getting power because we're charging our cell phones from the cigarette lighters. So I'm gonna read the manual, which is usually the last resort for me. Man, batteries are becoming the new Apple products. They're so sexy. All the slick paperwork that I'll never probably do anything with and then throw out 2 years later after I finally realize I'm never gonna use them. You know what they say about my wiener meals, Ellie?
What, Benjamin?
Wieners, they ain't big, but they sure are thin.
Well, our adventure fleet is growing. And as I sit here, editing from the camper, parked among mossy trees and snow-capped views, Bruce is happily running through the bush, eating sticks and probably some form of animal feces. I will say that time in the mountains seems to be just as fulfilling as time on the ocean. In fact, one seems to make the other that much better. Maybe cyclical is the way to go for breaking waves. A life of balance, mountains and ocean, you know?
What more could you ask for than...
Never burn out of either lifestyle? And while we're not at risk of becoming a camper channel, don't worry. I could definitely imagine a future of 6 months boat life and maybe 6 months off-grid cabin build. Who knows? But all I can say is for now, we're going to soak up as much land time with Bruce as we can before our big year across the ocean. Thanks for tuning in, and thank you to our patrons who have joined us this past week. DC and Sailing Home. Thank you guys for joining the team. This is also a reminder that Breaking Waves is having a Patreon meetup in Vancouver in August, so if you have been thinking about joining the Patreon team, now is the chance to do that. And if you are new here, make sure you hit subscribe so that you don't miss out on next week's episode, because big things are coming. See you at the next episode.